Welcome to Classes. Before we can get started doing any serious data science work, we first have to understand basic syntax in Scala. After completing this lesson, you should be able to create and instantiate classes in Scala, describe how arguments are passed to Scala class instances, and outline the lifespan of class parameters in a Scala class instance. So what is a class? A class is a description of a type. It embodies the state inside of an instance of a class. So it is nothing more than a way of representing a type of value inside of your system. For example, think of a customer. Inside of a customer, you might have state such as their name or their address or their phone number. Classes represent behavior for how that state can be transformed. For example, how you might change someone's address or their name. Classes are not concrete unless they have been instantiated via call to their constructor with the new keyword. So a class merely describes how you would want to represent a concept such as a customer, and then to have an instance of a customer that represents a specific person, you have to instantiate the customer class with the new keyword. And multiple instances of a class can exist. For example, you would have multiple customers in your system, one would hope. Here is a simple Scala class. Within the REPL, we type the keyword class and give it a name, hello. This has a very basic class representation which doesn't contain any state or any methods, which we'll describe later. However, we can create an instance of a hello class by saying new hello with parentheses at the end of it. And an instance is created given the name res0 inside of the REPL. We can then call a method on the instance of hello by saying res0.toString, which will return a string representation of the instance of the class. In this case, its location inside of the Java heap, the memory space inside of the JVM. Each class gets a primary constructor automatically from the Scala compiler. This defines the signature of how we create instances of a class. The body of the class inside of the Scala source code is the implementation of the constructor. So again, if we look at our class hello that we were defining inside of our REPL, we have an open curly brace and a closed curly brace. And within those curly braces is the body of the class. If we put a statement inside of there, such as a println, to print out the word hello, that will create an instance of a class that, when constructed using the new keyword, will print out hello. You can pass values into an instance of a class using one or more parameters to the constructor. But you must specify the types of each of these parameters. These values are internally visible for the life of the class instance that you are creating. So if you create a customer that represents a specific person and you pass values in as parameters to that class instance, those will be visible inside of the class the entire time that customer object is living. However, those parameters cannot be accessed from outside of the class instance. For an example of this, look at this example from the REPL. We have the class hello, and now we have a parameter called message of type string. Inside of the body of the class, in the constructor, we have a println statement to print out the message that is passed into our hello instance. This defines our class hello, and then when we create the new hello instance and pass in text or a string, it is then printed out when the class is constructed. If we try to create a hello without passing in that value, we get a compile error before we try to run it, saying that we do not have enough arguments for the constructor of hello. And those class parameters are not accessible. If I have that class hello with the message of type string as a parameter, and I instantiate an instance of hello, and then I try to access the message value inside of the hello instance, res0, I'm told by the compiler that it is not visible. And again, this happens before you put this into production. Having completed this lesson, you should be able to create and instantiate classes in Scala, Describe how arguments are passed to Scala class instances, and outline the lifespan of class parameters in a Scala class instance.